Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chhoda with Ignition Time, and I do want to provide a warning to all my subscribers that this video is going to make some of my viewers and subscribers uncomfortable because it's going to include pictures of poverty, of hunger, and it's going to include pictures that are going to make many of us uncomfortable. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video is because it's evident that we're looking at a K-shaped recovery in the country. In fact, the gap between the rich and the poor is increasing as a direct result of this pandemic, which is why additional stimulus, additional federal enhanced unemployment benefits are absolutely essential to help those who've been left behind. In many ways, I've talked about this economic recovery as a train that is starting to leave the station, but it's leaving a lot of passengers behind. And the ones who are left behind need help. We should help them, and we should always help those who need help the most. But unfortunately, because of the cycle of poverty, and I'm going to talk about the cycle of poverty in this video, it's very hard for some individuals to escape that cycle of poverty. For the rich, it's about, I can now buy a house in the Hamptons, or, I bought all these stocks and they went down by a few $100,000 when the market crashed. For the poor, it's about paying your rent. It's about keeping the lights on. It's about having food in the refrigerator. So we have what I call two Americas. We have what I call two economies. And that's what this video is about. And again, I do believe that this video is likely to make some of my viewers and subscribers uncomfortable. So I do want to give you a fair warning, but I do think it's important for us as citizens to be aware about what is happening in our own country. And if we are in a position to help others, we should. If we're not in a position to help, we should try and get help. There's no shame in asking for help. Let's jump right in. According to an article on the New York Times, which you can see on your screen right here, a shadow of hunger looms over the United States. In the pandemic recovery, nearly 1 in 8 households do not have enough food to eat. This is in the United States of America. 1 in 8 households do not have enough food to eat. Because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic, there have been epic lines at food banks, and this has essentially magnified, this is essentially exacerbated the problem, which is that some of us just struggle to pay our bills, whereas others have, more money than they know what to do with. There have actually been food shortages, and the fact is, quite honestly, healthy food is more expensive than unhealthy food. If you want to buy something that's healthy, that is organic, it's going to cost you more than buying something that is unhealthy and bad for you, because fundamentally unhealthy food is mass produced. It's loaded with stuff that we shouldn't be eating, and that's why it's cheaper. Whereas healthy food essentially takes more energy to produce and therefore is more expensive. That's one way to look at it, but you know exactly what I mean. Healthy food is more expensive than unhealthy food. And so millions of Americans, A, have no food to eat, and B, have to resort to eating unhealthy food that is not good for them. That's where things stand right now. Now, the cycle of poverty is something that is very, very real in our country. Some of the problems that exist in our country are low wages. Many of us make wages that are at or below minimum wage. Many of us live at or right below the poverty line. Unaffordable or unstable housing is a real problem. Rising medical costs have always been a problem in the United States of America. And unreliable transportation, having a car to get to work, relying on public transport is also a fundamental problem in the United States of America. So that's just where we are. In fact, on your screen right now, I'll have you take a look at the cycle of poverty. And as you can see, the way the cycle of poverty works, and it's very hard, by the way, for individuals to break free from the cycle of poverty. It doesn't matter whether you're African American, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Caucasian, it doesn't really matter. What matters is it's hard to overcome the cycle of poverty. So the way the cycle of poverty works is, let's say you're born or you live in a poor household. You don't have much food to eat. The water's not very clean. You have to go to public school. Sometimes, it's some kids don't even go to school. And then what happens next is the extent of diseases, the amount of infection an individual gets increases. This can lead to impaired physical development, impaired brain development, and this results in individuals not being able to have the right amount of energy, the right amount of skills to be able to do high quality work, to be able to seek education. If you're not highly educated, or if you don't have the energy or the skills through good quality food, through a good environment, through being able to have access to clean water, then that is going to result in low productivity. You're going to essentially have low productivity. You're going to end up doing jobs that don't really require a lot of physical or mental energy, and unfortunately those are by extension the low wage jobs. So low productivity and low or no income are directly related and are a direct consequence of poverty. And the unfortunate thing with low productivity and low energy and low income is that it leads to low self-esteem. It leads to a lack of personal control. It leads to a dependence on drugs. It leads to a kind of psychological barrier, if you will, from reaching your full potential. I've always believed in a balance between the emotional self, the physical self, which by the way has a lot to do with food and water and exercise, and then also our emotional self, because if your physical self isn't getting what it needs, the emotional self will struggle. And then on top of that, there is what I call the social component. If we're surrounded by people who don't elevate us, who don't encourage us, who don't motivate us to give off our best, instead, if we're surrounded by people who bring us down, who do things that they should not be doing, then it's going to make it hard for us to be able to live up to our full potential. I think the people that you are surrounded with is very, very, very crucial. I remember that as I was trying to reach financial freedom, I went to a lot of workshops, I went to a lot of conferences, I tried to find mentors and successful people, and I paid them money so that they would talk to me, because a lot of these individuals who essentially are mentors, they function as coaches, and you have to pay them for their time. And I think one of the best things we can do if we want to get to the next level is get advice from people who are way smarter than us, or who are at a level where we want to be, even if you have to pay them top dollar for their time, because you can't expect someone to just give you their time at no charge. So, and on the other hand, if you do find someone who's willing to give you their time at no charge, and you do look up to them, and you see them as your own mentor, that's fantastic. Find different mentors in your life, because at each stage of your life, you're going to need a different mentor. And that is a huge, huge component of how I was able to overcome poverty and how I'm able to live my American dream. If you don't know anything about me, check out my introductory video on our channel. I have the fortune, the privilege, the honor of living the American dream, and I want to help you live your American dream. But now let's get into the article, and on your screen, you'll see the article from the New York Times. And as we scroll through the article, this is hard for me to even talk about, because I have 2 young children. You'll see instances of hunger, instances of poverty, instances of essentially, I call it 2 Americas. There are 2 parallel Americas that exist. What happens as a direct result of poverty? And again, you see the images of Americans, of our fellow Americans struggling to have healthy food. And what we have right now is food insecurity throughout the country. And we, a reporter from the New York Times, Brenda Ann Keneally, set out across the country from New York all the way through to California. And she captured the routines of Americans who struggle to feed their families, who rely on food assistance, community support, and good old American willpower to be able to feed themselves and their family. Food insecurity is an actual threat to our country, because it's closely tied to the cycle of poverty. If you don't have healthy food and if you don't have clean water, you're not going to be able to function at a high capacity. Children are not going to be able to develop. Children are not going to be able to feel confident, interact with other children, study, learn, reach their full potential. Food insecurity is a real problem in the United States of America. And you, if you're watching this video, if you have the fortune, the privilege of living with, your pantry full of food, your refrigerator full of food, find a way to help someone who's less fortunate. Find a way to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I have some extra food. Would you like some? That's it. That one phone call. Hey, I have some extra food. Would you like some? You have no idea how you'll change the lives of your friends and neighbors. This channel, Ignition Time, is about teaching you how to fish, not giving you the fish. If you can exhibit generosity and if you can help someone else, you now pay it forward. And if on the other hand, you're someone who needs that help, there's no shame in asking for help and taking it, because one day, I promise you, you will be the one that is handing out the help. So food insecurity is a real problem. A food insecure life involves a life of hunger, it involves a psychological impact, because like I mentioned, there's a clear relationship between our physical selves and our emotional selves and our psychological selves. I believe there's a clear relationship between our emotional, physical, social, and intellectual health. There is a clear relationship, because that's what I've understood through my own life's experiences. Again, this is just my opinion, but what I've understood through my life's experiences is having good food leads to other things in your life. So food insecurity, unfortunately, is a real problem in our country. And unfortunately, the burden of food insecurity falls primarily on African American and Hispanic families, who are almost twice as likely, according to the New York Times, to experience food insecurity as Caucasian families. So take a look at some of these. You've been seeing these pictures as I've been talking, and this will give you a clear idea of the problem of food insecurity, the cycle of poverty, and the level of hunger that exists in our country, in the United States of America. It is a vicious cycle. Let's show you the cycle of poverty one more time on the screen right here. So as you can see, the cycle of poverty essentially becomes worse with time, and it's very difficult for those who are born into a poor family or those who live in a poor family to overcome the cycle of poverty. But it is possible. It is possible. If you look at each aspect of the cycle of poverty, you've got to ask yourself, what is the solution to each aspect? For example, the solution to little food, unclean water, is to find ways to get access to good food, find ways to get access to water, hopefully be a part of a good public school system. And again, I'm trying to present a solution here. I won't be able to solve every single person's problem in this video, but my goal with this video is to start a conversation, and then our community is smart enough to be able to come up with ideas to help each other. You've got to be able to do different things, and you've got to be able to try and combat each aspect of the cycle of poverty. One of the aspects of the cycle of poverty is low productivity. One of the ways you can beat low productivity is by finding good mentors, teachers, mentors, guides, coaches, who can actually support you, who can actually guide you. I'm trying to be a mentor to my viewers and subscribers through this channel. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I'm far from perfect. My wife reminds me how impatient I am, how many mistakes I make, and other things. Nobody's perfect. The idea is progress, not perfection. Any of us who are seeking perfection, you're not going to find it. The idea is to continuously progress by finding the right mentors to get to the next level. I am also improving on a daily basis, because I read at least one book a week, and I follow and I read so much that I'm always trying to learn and pick up the best attributes of other people through their books, through their courses, and through all my readings. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something new from this video. This video was intended to make you think. It was intended to make you a little uncomfortable. And it was intended to make you realize, if you're fortunate, help someone else. And if you're not fortunate, there's no shame in asking for help. Because at the end of the day, we are all in this together. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I appreciate you watching. If you learned something new, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Please share this video with a friend or a family member, because chances are, if you share it, it could help someone else and transform someone else's life. Again, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications, so make sure you bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time, so you can visit our homepage and get those alerts on our homepage. You can also get email alerts from us. Go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts. And you can get on our email list. Speaking of getting on our list, get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. And you can get on our SMS list. You can opt out of our SMS or email list at any time, no worries. You can follow us on Instagram. My Instagram handle is ignition_time. Once again, please follow us on Instagram or just like or subscribe to us on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Make sure that you tell your friends and family about us. Share this video. Help us spread the word. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.